Okay, get this. What if the best way to fight a devastating virus was with a common bacteria? I know, it sounds a little backwards, right? But it's the incredible science behind one of the biggest public health breakthroughs we've seen in a long, long time. We're going to dig into how scientists basically turned a bug's biology against a deadly disease. Let's get into it.
So first, let's just set the stage. The enemy here is huge. We're talking about dengue fever. It's this relentless, mosquito-borne plague that puts an unbelievable strain on healthcare systems all over the world. And for decades, the question has been the same. How on earth do you stop it?
To really get a grip on the scale of this problem, just look at that number. Up to 100 million people every single year. That's who gets sick with dengue. For so long, we've tried fighting back, with insecticides, cleaning up breeding sites. But honestly, those methods have barely made a dent. We desperately needed a new way to think about this.
And that new approach? Well, it came from a completely unexpected place. It wasn't a new vaccine, it wasn't a more powerful chemical, it was a tiny, naturally occurring bacterium. And this is where the story gets really, really interesting.
So, say hello to Wolbachia pipientis. This little guy is super common. It infects huge number of insect species all over the planet. But here's the kicker. The really crucial detail. It's not naturally found in the Aedes aegypti mosquito. The main one that spreads dengue. And for scientists, that little gap, well, that was a massive opportunity.
So how does it actually work? Well, it's kind of this brilliant one-two punch. First, when you put Wolbachia into a dengue-carrying mosquito, the bacteria basically acts like a bodyguard. It competes for resources inside the mosquito's cells, making it incredibly difficult for the dengue virus to make copies of itself. But here's the truly genius part. Wolbachia rigs the system to make sure it spreads. It's passed down from a mother mosquito to all her babies. And because of this wild mechanism called cytoplasmic incompatibility, infected females can have babies with any male, but if an uninfected female mates with an infected male, her eggs don't hatch. This gives the Wolbachia mosquitoes a huge reproductive advantage, letting the bacteria spread through the whole population all on its own. An amazing idea in a lab is one thing, right? But would it actually work in a bustling, complex city? That was the million-dollar question. And to answer it, researchers set up a massive study in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. This was it, the ultimate real-world test. Now, the way they designed this experiment was absolutely key to getting results you could actually trust. They took the city and divided it into 24 different zones, or clusters. 12 of them were randomly picked to get the mosquitoes carrying Wolbachia. The other 12 were the control group, business as usual. And critically, both groups kept doing all the normal mosquito control stuff. This setup created a perfect, fair, apples-to-apples comparison. And this was a marathon, not a sprint. They started releasing the special mosquito eggs back in 2017. Then, for more than 2 years, clinics all across the city signed up patients who came in with the fever. All in all, they gathered data from over 8,100 people. That is a massive data set, which is exactly what you need to get a clear answer.
Okay. So after years of careful planning, releases, and painstaking data collection, the moment of truth arrived. The researchers finally looked at the data to answer the one question that mattered. Did unleashing Wolbachia actually reduce dengue?
And the results were just, wow, absolutely staggering. In the neighborhoods that got the Wolbachia mosquitoes, only 2.3% of the feverish patients actually had dengue. Now look at the control areas. That number was 9.4%. I mean, that's not a small difference. That is a massive, undeniable drop. When the statisticians did their magic and crunched all the numbers, it boiled down to this: a 77.1% reduction in symptomatic dengue cases. That is just an incredible success. And this wasn't just against one type of the virus either. It worked against all 4 major dengue serotypes. A total home run. But wait, it gets even better. Not only did it stop people from getting sick in the first place, it also dramatically reduced how sick they got. The data showed an incredible 86.2% reduction in hospitalizations. Think about what that means. It takes immense pressure off hospitals, and more importantly, it saves lives.
So, results like these aren't just a win, they're a potential game changer for public health. But in science, spectacular results demand spectacular evidence. So you might be wondering, why are scientists so confident in this particular study?
Well, that confidence really comes from the rigor of the whole thing. The study was a cluster randomized controlled trial. That's the gold standard in research. The outcomes weren't based on someone's opinion. Every single dengue case was confirmed with super accurate lab tests.
They also use this really clever method called a test-negative design, which helps cancel out any bias from, say, people in one neighborhood being more likely to go to the doctor than another. It's just really solid science.
And you don't have to take my word for it. This final conclusion from a major critical appraisal of the study says it all. The evidence is reliable. It's generalizable. This wasn't some fluke. This is a proven, effective public health weapon.
What the Yogi Cartage trial really proved is that we can fundamentally change our relationship with a disease-carrying insect. We can turn it from a threat into a protector. It opens up a whole new toolbox for fighting disease. And it leaves us with this really fascinating question to think about. What other enemies can we turn into allies?